couple of notes before we start talking. I'm recording this. I'm going to publish it on my YouTube channel, JBoard Secrets. So you guys watch the replay later, and for those who couldn't make it live as well. I also wanted to mention a few things I'm working on that definitely could get some help with it. Let me share my screen. Let's see here. I'll go with the full screen first. First up, I am busily working on jobboardhive.com. It's a new directory of job boards. And I'm adding my own listings as well as getting stuff from peeps out there. I've made a few announcements about this on my email list. And I'm going to launch this officially in January. This is going to be a site for both employers and job hunters. And I really want to become a resource for both of those folks, both those audiences. I've been curating these job boards for many years in a spreadsheet and decided it was time to actually make this public, put it out there for the world to see. So this is all basically curated by myself over the years, as well as crowdsourced. There's 45 categories or so of job listing or job boards. And right now there's almost 300 in there. So I'm probably working on another 100 myself to get into the system before we launch. But it's free. You would be able to claim your listings if I already added it, and you'll be able to feature them as well in the coming weeks here. We have a question. No, okay. So check it out. It's based on WordPress. If you have any issues, let me know. I'm still tweaking it a bit. There could be a few bugs here and there, but for the most part, it's been working well. I'm getting submissions. And when you join, basically, you can put in a link to your site. You can describe it, put an image in or a logo. Just a quick example here, what that would look like. So here's the URL, the description of it. You can put some tags in as well. You choose the country its audience is for, and that kind of stuff. And you can see related listings there along the bottom. So I'm really excited about this project. It's a long time in the making. Something I should have done probably years ago, but I'm glad it's finally off the ground and it's live. So definitely check it, take advantage of that, guys. Free SEO links as well. So second thing, my new community is live as well. So pro.jobboardsecrets.com. You can join for free, but there's also a premium membership as well, 15 bucks a month. That gets you access to the premium content I've written over the years, as well as Ask Me Anything. You can basically use that feed or that section to ask me any questions any time of day. There's also a mobile app. It's based on Mighty Networks. So if you download the Mighty Networks app, you can sign into this thing and use it from your phone as well. Pretty cool tool. Yeah, I'm really excited about that as well. It's wanted to just put stuff, bring more community focus onto the job board industry. Years ago, I launched Job Boarders, which I then sold to Peter Well at TA Tech. He obviously shut it down. So I do think there's room again for an online community for all of us, whether you own a job board, starting a job board, or work for a job board. So you can come in here and learn, meet other members as well, and connect with the industry overall. What else? And if you need any help, hire me. So I've been working with a lot of folks lately. Sam on the call from Zero Tax Jobs, one of my latest clients. Definitely helped him out. Deconstructed the site a bit, gave him some ideas for monetization, things like that. So click on the Hire Chris link on my site. And whether you're just getting started, done a number of those calls recently. Just, what do you don't know, you should know going into starting a job board business. It's a lot of my stuff. I do a lot of configurations on the job board softwares out there, all kinds of good stuff around the job board world. So I'm doing this for 25 years and it is still going strong. So appreciate all your support out there. All right. Again, put your URL in the chat there if you are just joining us. Got great insurance jobs. We got College Recruiter, Nick from SEO Jobs. Adzuna's in the house. Michael from Disabled Person. Hey, Michael. Sam, Work Abroad Canada. Kasia's here with her Nihongo Jobs. Did I get it right, Kasia?
Yeah,
And
Nihongo.
Nihongo. Okay. What does that mean?
Nihongo means Japanese. So if anybody
Ah,
studies Japanese, they would know it.
very nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. That's my spiel, guys. So, I guess what's on your mind these days? What's who wants to start up with a question or a comment on the industry, or what's on your mind? Who wants to go first? Mm. Questions, problems, challenges?
I'll throw out one question. So, in the SEO space specifically, and it's search engine optimization for anyone not familiar, the industry is in a really rough spot where many people are getting laid off, and there's just a lot of uncertainty in the future. And I realize that that may be the case for a lot of technical industries, but I'm just curious from your guys' perspective, it's had a big impact in the amount of listings that are getting posted on my site. But I'm just curious if anybody else is seeing kind of a downturn in hiring.
Well, I say we're in December now, so December has always been the slowest month of the year as far as postings go. So that's part of it is seasonal. But I expect next month, new budgets come on, we should see a spike. That's probably one of the biggest job posting months of the year is January. So anybody else have thoughts?
Yeah, apologies. I'll just kind of put the asterisk that for my site, it's been like the last couple months have been slower, maybe 6 months. So, but
And I
yes,
think
that
too,
makes a lot of
Nick,
sense.
tech is really taking a big hit this year. Like if you're on any kind of tech job board, yeah, that's been a tough market this year overall.
Yeah, I have the entire opposite. The ranching, the unplugged world. Um, typically, to your point, Chris, November, December are my weakest months typically, but I almost doubled my revenue in November this year compared to last year. So seeing some upticks, and then to your point, the ranchers typically, at least the operating cattle ranchers, they start hiring January to March when they start bringing in new heads of cattle. My dude ranchers are also hiring for the summer season that's coming up. I just had a few come through today. They start aggressively hiring in December, January to hopefully get all their crew just signed up. So it's just off their plate. Everybody's signed up for May to June. But yeah, I don't necessarily have goals. It's interesting to see how it rises and falls each year. I always fully expect November and December to be low, but then pleasant surprise that it was going up. I don't know if these are folks that are leaving tech and then trying to get into ranching, or folks that are consuming more. Yeah, they're just farm to door ranches, or they're just eating more steaks and eating out more often. That the ranchers are allowed they have the ability to hire extra folks. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but I can see it from the hiring standpoint.
When it comes to what Nick was saying before, do you wonder if it's the artificial intelligence aspect? Because I mean, I do SEO work for my site, and the amount of speed I can go at now, using automation, it's really meant that I don't have to really depend so much on SEO experts like I would have felt like before. Similarly for software development, okay, SEO's not SEO. Artificial intelligence is never going to truly replace a developer, but it definitely makes certain aspects of my job a lot quicker and lets me go much faster. And I think there's just a general trend for people who are hiring in that space to say, well, we don't really know how this is going to look in a year's time. Let's maybe not rush into committing on hires when we don't know how this is going to play out, So I kind of feel that trend's going to be anything where artificial intelligence has a really strong disruptive factor. I can see that being the case. And just like Peter was saying, as the ranch work, it's physical work. I can't see how artificial intelligence eats ranch work, anytime soon anyway. So I could see that being a trend. For me, I'm pre-revenue with my job board. I've yet to take any money, but I obviously track what people are posting and what kind of jobs are advertising in my markets, which is software engineering in Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates. And yeah, I mean, basically seniors, they just want seniors, people with lots of experience, people who can train other people. And the low-level junior jobs, I mean, basically a senior with the right tools can go a lot faster, and probably do most of that with AI. So
Yeah, it's more with less, right? I've been on record saying we've seen peak recruiter staffing in the industry, and it's possible we've seen peak tech staffing, at least for the, next 5 years, maybe, until something else comes along. But it's certainly possible. That's a theory I've had.
I can add something else too for those of us who are heavily into performance-based pricing, and or programmatic. There's been a significant improvement in like the click to apply conversion rates that a lot of employers are seeing. And so just in the last couple of years. And so I think employers don't have to advertise on as many sites for as long. Whether or not they're doing it programmatically, whether or not they're buying by click or application, if any of us sends an employer 50 candidates, they're probably going to see a lot more applications than they would have just a few years ago.
Yeah, it's a good point, Stephen. I helped a small employer in Indiana last year. I got this project out of the blue, but he was a roofer, and he was hiring for roofing sales, right? All over like
he was into roofies. Is that what you're is? Oh, okay. Oh, different. Okay, never mind.
He was hiring roofing sales all across like Indiana or somewhere, like one state. And he never had a hiring software before. So I helped him get on, I think it was Bamboo HR, one of those small businesses, ATSs. And they had some checkbox there where if you check it off, you get like, I don't know, sent to Google for jobs or whatever it is. But he was getting applicants for free every day. And, he was getting like probably a couple hundred applicants a month just for doing nothing. And so I think there's that aspect out there as well that we compete with.
I will add just to that conversation, like the plus side of, I guess, not making money if there is one. Like traffic has been really high, so I feel like I'm building a lot of goodwill in the industry. So I know at least going to many of the events, the job board is top of mind. So I'm trying to look at it as like traffic and visibility is going through the roof, which is great. So I hope it'll kind of boomerang.
Yeah, exactly. Now's your time for getting those seekers on board, getting their emails, getting them registered, right, Nick? It's
Exactly.
that's what this time is for. Since postings are down, you focus on the seekers there, and just build that community and build traffic and maintain that. How is everybody's SEO doing lately? Any issues?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So how does everybody deal with the Google algorithmic changes? Because they've traditionally been doing 3 to 4 a year. I just read that they're going to be doing a lot more. I know if you guys know there was a big core algorithmic, excuse me, update in November. I thought that was it, and then they came out with another one this past
Well,
week.
even before that, back in the spring of this year, one of my clients lost all their traffic, and in November they got it all back. Or
Right.
maybe it was August, I think, actually. August I got it all back, and it's maintained since August already. So Google is fickle. I tell all my clients, like,
They're so fickle.
Chris,
one day you're up, next day you're down.
Chris, did your client make any changes? Like
Zero changes, nothing.
Okay, so it wasn't any. So they lost it, and it was just basically Google just had a second thought or whatever. Okay.
And when it came back, they said that they were now focusing on more independent publishers, small publishers. So I assume that's why they brought us back, because it was it's not a huge site. It's a smaller site, maybe about 25,000 monthly visitors. And when we lost traffic, we were down to like 10. So it was a pretty significant hit that they took.
Michael, I don't know if this helps. For ranch work, we receive in total a little over 1 million visits a year. But from an SEO standpoint, I look at it holistically. I'm trying to gather as much traffic from as many sources as I can. And SEO is just one aspect of that. Half of my traffic to ranch work is direct. I'm aggressive at buying other domain names roughly associated with the ranching industry. I own ranchjobs.com. I redirect it with UTM parameters on there. I aggressively collect email addresses. But then layered all on top, SEO is wonderful. But I try my best to leverage as many alternative sources of traffic. And then if I get a weird bump within the SEO world, I know uh, it wouldn't be preferred, but at least I know half my traffic's coming direct. I have 17 or 18,000 people on my email list. I'm now growing a Facebook page. I have about 18,000 people there. So I might lose, well, if I'm impacted, maybe it hits 20, 30% of my traffic, but most of my customers know me by name now. They just type me in direct or they have me bookmarked on their website. So I just try to be prepared. I can't control that. So I just try to be prepared. And Nick has probably a much better background, but I always just try to make sure the foundation of SEO is set on my site. I have a ridiculously fast web host. I have all the text and title tags and H1s and all just the basics, SEO 101, and have all that tied down. And then really, I don't really pay that much attention to it. I just try to focus on these
Yeah, you
customers
focus on,
filling jobs and then keeping my foot on the pedal and consistently trying to fill these jobs for these ranchers. And if I get some SEO benefit from them, wonderful. And I try to follow the lead. And but I am waiting for it. I know it'll hit at some point and have a negative aspect, but at least I'm trying to put as many bags of sand, so to speak, just to make sure I'm prepared for if it does ever impact me negatively.
yeah, you own your own channels, Peter. That's the important thing. I tell my clients, you gotta own every channel you can get, particularly the free ones, email, social, SEO, all that stuff. You got to nail that stuff.
Yep.
And maintain it over time as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll just echo what Peter was saying too. Historically, we used to be able to, SEO a website, and that's how we built it into a brand. Well, Google's getting really good. Like the tips and tricks and silver bullets don't exist anymore or are very far and few. So now the reality is by building a good brand where people are searching for you and know you and are talking about you, SEO becomes the result of that. So
Yeah,
it's a
and the
little bit
time
more
on
expensive
site.
now.
Yeah, Nick, are you seeing that time on site? I mean, I'm recognizing that, and they're pulling data. It appears they're pulling data from Chrome browser. Like if Google understands how long a person is spending on your site through their browser and through Google Analytics. So if somebody is spending 5 to 10 seconds and they bounce, Google will, well, from my experience, they will punish you. And they'll recognize whether they come back again. So I'm fortunate my folks will visit the site every single day, or I send an email out on Monday, and then they'll return on every Monday when I send out my little jobs email. But the experience, exactly what Nick said. That's a good way to put it, Nick. Yeah, if you're following all the things, then it is a result. Very challenging to build a site from an SEO focused from the outset. I'm seeing the exact same result as well.
Got a few questions here. Sorry, someone want to say something?
No, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I've been through all that, and we have the same thing with where we have a ton of direct, ton of referrals. Just curious what people do with the SEO, if they jump, or if they just let it go. We just let it go, like maybe twice a year. We'll go in and make sure everything's up to date and, content. And I think the problem that job boards have is we have jobs with duplicate titles, right? So you kind of get a ding for the duplicate titles, but there's nothing you can do because you have different companies who may be hiring the same position with the same title.
The
So
cruel
Is your site
reality, Michael,
custom
is
made, Michael? Is it? Or are you using a job board software?
Pardon me?
What kind of job board software are you using, or did you custom build it, a disabled person?
Yeah, we custom built it.
Okay. You can try tweaking the job titles a bit to make them a little bit different. If you could add something, maybe add the company name to it at the end or something like that.
We do that, and we had the city to it.
There you go. Okay.
But you still get duplicate tags. I'm just curious what other people do. I'll keep quiet. Okay.
real quick, Michael, and everybody here is probably aware of it, but we all know that when you're typing for job-related queries in Google, the first thing they do is serve up their own widget with jobs. So the SEO play is not so much in the individual listings as it is probably your editorial content. And that's why I just say, yes, you can use the SEO tools to do keyword research and all that, but honestly, if you're creating resources and content that are just helpful to your users, like that is inherently what people are searching for. And that's one of your biggest opportunities to, get additional people into your site and just brand awareness.
Yeah, Nick, this is Adam from Adzuna. We undertook a significant project this past year on that very topic, where we had a multi-departmental project to create unique, article content around job descriptions, around job titles. What do you need to do if you want to become a XYZ? And we created with our whole team, hundreds and thousands of different job title information and, how to become. And it was a combination of a lot of people, and we used AI for a lot of the creation, but we had a lot of the editing done by people, in our company. We obviously have maybe more resources than others, but that project, I think, has led to us getting a pretty sizable increase in our organic traffic. So just to your point, we need to create better, good content, and not just jobs. It's about things that are really going to be useful and, native, good content that is unique, that can help get more traffic. So that was a good project. It was multi-departmental, but useful.
Adam, can you share an example of one of those in the chat there, maybe? Love to see that.
Yeah, sure.
And Adam, to your point, and then I will be quiet so other people can talk, but I do SEO consulting. That's my day-to-day, and then this is just kind of my passion job. But that's what I'm telling a lot of people. It's like, basically, if it's not difficult, hard, or unscalable, like it's not going to be super valuable from an SEO perspective. And it's just kind of the cruel reality of it. But so I just think, just be aware that if you feel like it's too easy, or you're cheating the system, or scaling, probably not going to get the long-term value that you're looking for. But if you're going to do it, Adam, I suspect you're going to be getting long rewards for all the effort you've put in with that content.
That's the idea.
We got some questions here from the audience. Let me see here. Aneeqa asks, pros and cons of unlimited job packages for recruiters. Does it increase value? Same with coupons. Let's start with the last one. Anybody use coupons to any effectiveness in the chat? Kasia?
I use it for deals sometimes around the holidays to kind of remind people that I still exist. I put it in my newsletter. I have a monthly newsletter for employers, weekly for job seekers. And I use the coupons mainly for the employers to be like, hey, I'm still here, limited time, next 30 days, use this coupon code for 10, 15% off or something like that. And it tends to bring some people in. So that's about the extent of that. But I think it works fine. I was also considering the unlimited package. So I was curious to hear what other people would say about that too.
Yeah, I've always put unlimited packages on my job boards, my clients' job boards. I think it's one of, it's always a variation of stuff. You need a single posting for those drive-bys, as I call them, drive-by job postings, for those who want to try you out. And you need packages that save them money on 5 or 10, whatever it is. And I've always had it unlimited for the year. It's kind of been my usual structure of it, is unlimited for a year. Post as many jobs as often as you want for the year. And that's usually the biggest price point of the the site. So you have to make it costly enough so that not everyone's going to choose it because and then spam your site, whatever. But it is something that I think every job board could use.
I'll throw something in. So Joe Stubblebine here from Lensa. We actually have we have a pretty big wholesale. Hi, everybody I know on the call. We have a pretty big wholesale side of the business, but we also have fasttalent.com, which is our direct side. I think the challenge with unlimited packages is if you either get people that are doing geo replication of jobs, where they'll take one job and multiply it in a whole bunch of cities and states for a nationwide posting, or if you are buying traffic on those jobs, which we do pretty extensively. We buy from at least 70 different sources, including pay-per-click and obviously job boards and things like that. It really limits your ability to promote the job adequately. So what we do is we price ours by tiers. So we ask how many jobs you're trying to fill today. You can usually find that out by going right to the employer page on the customer site. And if they've got about 222 open job positions, then we price that in a bucket. So it might be a range between 200 and 230 is X amount of dollars, and then we discount based on volume. That way we can ensure we have enough money coming in that we can use, obviously, Lence's membership of 20 million people, but also we can distribute it out to our network of job boards, career sites, Snapchat, some of our other search stuff that we do. Because otherwise we won't make any money on it, right? So every click costs money. Every position in your alert, every job position costs money. So if I'm getting a 50-cent bid rate, and I'm in position 3 in my alerts, I don't want to have somebody that's going to give me 500 jobs and I charge a flat rate, because the more clicks I drive to that job, the less we actually make. So I think understanding the net profit margin of those types of packages is really important, and what were the cost of those clicks. We do have some levers when we arbitrage, we can control profit margin at the click level. But again, you got to take that monthly fee divided by however many clicks you have or however many jobs you have. That becomes your per job budget. And then, of course, however many clicks you're driving is what the revenue per click is. So if your revenue per click is lower than your spend per click, you're not going to be able to scale your direct product reasonably well.
Interesting. Here's the piece of content that Adam talked about here, how to become a certified nursing assistant. There's a nice page here, Adam. Nice.
Thank you.
How many of these would you say you guys have created?
Over 1,000.
Over 1,000. Wow. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. It was like, again, a cross-departmental, everyone kind of chipped in with some time, because it's very labor intensive. There's no way to get around some of that work. You can only use AI to a certain degree, where it becomes obvious that it's AI and it kind of loses its personalization, so you can use some of it, but we had humans go in and edit and make sure they all kind of had a logic to it. So, there's nothing, it's just elbow grease and, kind of just blocking and tackling, so fundamentals, there's no substitute for that.
Yeah, solid piece of SEO here.
Nick, what have you seen for AI produced content or AI plus slight human editing? I don't use any,
great question.
And not just straight AI, but AI to Adam's point with some human moderation. I don't touch any of it right now.
So it's a fantastic question. And, it's goes back to that analogy of like shit in, shit out. Sorry to be profane, but it really comes down to the prompts that you're using. The more effort you put into your prompts and give less and less discrepancy to the AI, the better the output is. And then, as Adam had said, it's like you've got to be able to have the expertise to be able to review it, because AI is going to just create anything based off of whatever the model is being trained. So for me, one thing that I've done that has been really helpful, again, I've been in the SEO space for like 15 years, is I fed ChatGPT every piece of content I've ever written throughout my entire career. So now when I write content today, I will give it a passage and say, like, I'm struggling here, use my voice and tone to help me fill this out. And I can get probably 60% of a piece of content written, and then I will just fill the gaps and change, the context. And I think that is where AI is exceptionally valuable, at least from the SEO. It just helps give you a little bit of scale, but it is not, I'm sure Adam saw this, like if you go write me an article, it's 1,000 words on how to become a nurse, it's going to basically regurgitate Wikipedia to you, and you're not going to win. But if you, tell it all the sub bullets that you want, you know, and then you hire a nurse to review it, and then they're willing to attach their name to it as well, being kind of like medically vetted, you know, then it goes a lot further. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. That and one more, and maybe Adam or Nick can approach this. What have you guys seen? I know how Google reacted to this maybe 5 or 10 years ago when you publish 1,000 articles at one time versus slowly distribute 1,000 articles over time. Nick, have you seen anything? Any preference at Google? I could see from one perspective, Google thinking, okay, you just yeah, slap these articles together, dump them on your site, wait for Google to come and index, and hopefully you start ranking and use the topic and authority that you have with your existing base domain name to have those articles rank. I don't think Google, what have you seen for those, Nick? Is it better to publish those evenly over time or publish all at once or hybrid?
I think Google has gotten really smart now, and the resources that it takes them to crawl an index is so much higher today than it was before. My only challenge is if we're thinking about creating something for users, like what can we create of that has substantial value that is hundreds or thousands at one point in time. So I would, maybe a better way to answer your question is I would not create all my content, hoard it until I have 1,000 pieces and then push it live, because that's gonna be a lot of work for users to be able to consume. So I would publish it, but you know, I'm actually playing with something right now where I'm using AI, and right before jumping on, I published about 100 pages for random SEO interview questions, and it's all going to be for the long tail to get people that are, you know, preparing for an SEO manager role, and they might ask those type of questions. In that situation, I have no problem dumping, you know, 100, 200, 300 pieces of content. And also, since I'm still talking, one other thing I'll just say, whoever had mentioned before using the vouchers, those are really good to get people to agree to interviews or create content on your behalf. So I'll do that. I'll do interviews with people and say, I'll give you a voucher so that you can post your job for free, but I need you to write something on my behalf or let me interview you.
Ooh. Thank you, Nick.
Interesting. Yeah.
And Nick, when you were saying that you don't mind dumping all the content at once, is this is something the way I look at it myself, but I'm not an SEO expert. I often think to myself, like, if the competition for that keyword is almost non-existent, I just look at what else is ranking, and often it's not even related to the keyword. And in that case, I think, well, just an AI garbage article, which is automatically written, should beat out on that because it's got more keyword frequency. My site is more relevant. And for stuff like that, I'm happy to do programmatic SEO to spit things out. But the assumption is that if I start building traffic and I watch the traffic on those pages and competition starts rising, I need to go back into those pages and manually write a proper full article and do the elbow grease that maybe Adam was talking about. But if the competition is low, what's the harm in starting with what I consider ultimately a programmatic AI garbage article? Is that wrong or?
No, I think that's actually one thing that a lot of people will do is they'll spin up just a ton of websites with just a crazy amount of content. Whatever sticks, they go back. Because you can assume if you put garbage out and you win today, it's going to be short term. But if you go back and double down on it, that's actually a really solid strategy. But Tammy, I know you had your hand, so I want to be quiet. So
Yeah, Tammy's got a question.
That's all good. Our job board is very new. It just launched basically in September. And I just wanted to share with everybody how we're using it. And then I wanted to ask for advice or opinions on how to maybe make it more efficient or different. So our job board is called Work Abroad Canada, and we connect our Western Canadian employers with skilled international candidates. And when I say skilled, we're looking for people who have experience in agriculture, the trades, construction, and manufacturing. Yeah, there it is. Thanks, Chris. And so it's a very cumbersome process right now. So I'm actually putting out ads in the countries of which we want to attract people, or even specific areas. For example, we're looking for agriculture equipment operators, and I'll look in South Africa where is grain farming most prevalent, and then I will target that area, put an ad, an Indeed ad in that area of South Africa, and actually I get quite a good response. And then from there, they need to go through a pre-screening process, because we want to our job board, we want to offer it more like a reverse job board. So they enter in our system, which is Recruiter Flow, where I pre-screen them for their English language capabilities. Do you have a criminal record? Because we are also an immigration consultancy, we can ask immigration related questions. Once they've passed that step, then they go into HireFlix, where we ask them to do a 3-question video interview. And then from there, they're invited to join our Work Abroad Canada job board. So it's really cumbersome, but it's working. And, you know, two of the main challenges that we're having is letting employers know that we're here, and getting them to get on board with paying to view our candidates that we have. And it's a bit challenging, because we only have about 100 candidates in there right now, but they are pre-screened, they're ready to go, they're engaged with wanting to immigrate to Canada. But and this is JBoard. JBoard is limited in that I cannot email candidates easily. I need to download doing an Excel spreadsheet, and then from there I can take out the emails that I want and send, you know, targeted emails based on the information in their profile. So I guess my question is, at a glance, looking at this, where can we poke some holes? Is there an easier way to do this that's about the same price? And how can we get employers to know that we exist?
Hey.
And SEO is like talking Chinese to me, because I don't know SEO yet. So I do know that SEO words are important, and I put them in when we have our various jobs, but the level at which you guys are speaking about SEO is way beyond where we're at. So.
Hey,
Let's start with the employer question first, Tammy,
Okay.
and people in the chat there. Have you got a prospect for them, number one? So are you building any kind of list of employers that you want to sell into right now?
So we have a database of about 360 employers that we currently have worked with. And so I know we do need to create a funnel to get, and most of those employers are in the ag industry. And we are just starting now to reach out to construction industry and manufacturers to let them know that we have this option for them. So.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you got to touch them at the very least. You got to touch them once a month and just tell them you exist, basically, right? And then rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
It is
Chris,
it's a process there. Yeah.
can I make a suggestion?
Yep.
Tammy, this is Peter. I work in a somewhat similar, and I'm in ranching and agriculture. Have you considered buying the .com? You're currently on .ca. I just checked. It's openly available. From my perspective, I would strongly suggest you buy the .com, just from a defensive standpoint.
Okay.
Some domain investor is going to buy it, and then they're going to put a $10,000 to $20,000 price tag on it. Once you get some traction on this project, that domain will be gone forever. Versus just go buy it at Cloudflare right now for $10, redirect it to .ca, and then that chess piece is off the board, and you're protected.
Okay. Good advice. Thanks, Peter.
Sure.
Prospecting tips. Anybody want to chime in?
I think I could chime in. When we first started, I'd reach out to employer groups, associations. I'm sure Canada has National Association of Agriculture Employers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Go there, go try and get to the top there, and then it'll funnel down. Try and do something there that they'll disperse to their membership. Because this way you'll get multiple people with one effort.
Right. Right. We were going about it the wrong way. We were, reaching out not individually, but small groups. And we're like, no, we need to aim high, and you're right, let it trickle down from there. So now we are just starting to engage with associations and let them know that we also kind of wanted to have a fairly robust, not that it's robust, but it's getting there and it's growing. We wanted to have something to show for it and have candidates in there before we actually showed it to employers, and instead of saying this is what we think it's going to look like, it, you know, this is what it does look like. So
Let me ask you one question. What's your candidate acquisition cost? Because it sounds like you're doing a lot.
a lot, and it's expensive. And so
That's going to be a hard
I-
transition to the employers to pay
It's
for
hard
all
to
that.
scale. Yeah.
say that again, Michael.
It's hard to, it might be hard to scale that, because if that's costing you a lot, how do you translate that to the employers? Because you're going to have to make at least a profit margin of 30% on it, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I would look to lower your candidate acquisition costs.
Yeah. And yeah, I'd love to hear about some options or get direction on where I could learn more about how to do that. So
This,
Facebook page.
this is Stephen with College Recruiter. I wonder, with all of the screening that you're doing for the candidates and a relatively small number of them, whether a job board model is the right model, or whether you'd be better off with a staffing model. And because you could become an employer of record and place these candidates, because it seems like you know a ton about them. But I wonder how many employers are going to be like willing to come learn about a new source, log in, start searching, contacting the candidates. In their minds, it's just kind of like, I'll just put an ad on Indeed. Right. And they can do that. And in 5 minutes, they're done. They're going to have 60 resumes. You know, they'll go through 10, they'll find the first person that looks good, and they'll send them a job offer. So I think you're providing a ton of extra value that I question whether you're going to be able to monetize with like a traditional advertising resume searching.
So
Like,
for example, you could
very
keep
few job boards know as much as you do about their candidates.
yeah. And you know what? I can almost speak about their family situation, because there's so few of them. But we did try that, Stephen, and we wanted to not be the middleman anymore. Like and dealing with, and Peter will know this, dealing with farmers is painful. Is so in that they might have this decision today. I need an ag equipment operator. I need two guys to do this, and I need one guy to do that. And then the next week it changes. Okay, I only need one guy now. And and I need the other guy to do this now. So I wanted to take myself out of that. I want the employer to be, and I think maybe there's somewhere where we could be even in the middle of that, where I still provide them with a curated list, but I'm not managing the communications after they have the list. You know, you can look at these people and you do the work if you're interested in learning more and doing reference checking and that type of thing.
I grew up in Winnipeg, and my sister lives there. One of my sisters still lives there, and she's in has worked forever in the staffing industry. I think she was like, well, it doesn't matter. I remember her telling me, this is probably going back 5-6 years ago now, that her little staffing company, she's an employee, not an owner, but her branch of a national staffing company in Canada, I think she said, like, for 3, 4, 5 months, almost everything that she did was basically finding like fishermen in Newfoundland who had worked there like the 2022 weeks or whatever, and had the willingness to live in the hell that is the tar sands, and go there, and you basically make enough money so that after 10 years they could retire, if they live that long. And I remember her telling me that they very quickly ran out of fishermen in Newfoundland. And so one of the things that they started to do was somewhat similar to you, where they were looking for people who were skilled tradespeople who wanted to immigrate to Canada, or at least wanted to come for a year or 3 years or something like that.
Mhm.
Maybe rather than you working directly with farmers, if they're just too difficult to work with, maybe you work as a source of candidates to staffing companies who then have the process and have the people. Because yeah, I mean, I just over the years, her biggest frustration working for this staffing company is not finding the employer, it's finding the candidate.
Yeah.
So if you could essentially do splits with her, you know,
Yeah.
her or others, you know, but I
Yeah.
don't think she's unusual. I think I think what what she has struggled with, I think, is really common. It's really hard to find mechanics who are willing to live in a hellhole, even if you're paying them a ton of money.
Mhm.
Like the living, for those who are on the call who don't know, the living conditions, it's really rough. Like you're in like a mobile home with like 18 guys, and there's a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol, a lot of prostitution, and a lot of money.
But the
And
food is good. They
yes, the
at
food,
those
and one
those
of my
camps, they
yeah,
usually make good food. But
yeah,
you know what,
one of
you're
my
right.
kids did forestry work, planting trees in British Columbia. And yeah, it's like 18
Mhm.
hours of misery and the world's best food and great
Yeah.
money. And it takes a
Yeah.
special kind of person to put up with that.
Well, and you know what? I am in Alberta, and that's exactly everybody knows somebody that's the job that they have. So, and again, there is a shelf life for that type of position, and I don't want to take up I feel like I'm taking up a lot of time on this call, but I appreciate the advice, and maybe Chris, could have a further conversation with you on your thoughts after the call, but I appreciate everybody's input, and I feel like it's evolving, and I know we have some amazing value to offer, and I know that there's ways that we can make this work, and maybe we even work with specific associations and just contract out to them. So
yeah. The other thing I'll say too about just building a profile database, Tammy, is that you need kind of critical mass there for it to really start to attract employers, right? You need,
what would you say that number should look like?
if you have 100, I mean, you need at least 1,000 to start talking to employers, right? I mean, you need
Okay.
you need a bigger number there, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
I
I
would say if
can
you,
chime in with I'd be remiss if not to mention agency channel sales as well. So, a lot of employers utilize third parties to get their recruitment advertising placed. So I'm not sure about your market, Tammy, but in terms of like a lot of enterprise level employers are using ad agencies to place those ads. And if you're not utilizing that channel sales of offering ad agency commission and things like that, then you're basically missing out on half the market there.
Okay.
Tammy, do you know
Thanks,
Shelley?
Michael.
Do you know Shelley Billinghurst of Higher Talent?
No.
She's basically next door to you. She's in Calgary, and
Okay.
she was the co-host of the Recruitment Flex podcast with Serge Boudreau.
Okay.
And that podcast, I think it's been they ended it maybe 3-4 months ago, something like that. But like Michael, she's the owner of an advertising agency. Unlike Michael, you can go to coffee with her.
Okay.
Michael,
Billing?
Shelley Billinghurst. And if you want to shoot me an email, I'm happy to introduce you. I'm sure that Michael would be more than happy to buy you a cup of coffee if you're in his city, but he's probably not going to fly to Calgary to do that.
Right.
Although, Michael, Calgary is a lovely city, especially in the summertime.
Yes.
Adam,
All
you
right.
want to plug something real quick? Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So just letting people know that I manage partnerships, right, for Adzuna. So what that means is we can help folks niche sites monetize their traffic via backfill job feeds. That's kind of what we do. That's how we generate most of our traffic to our clients' jobs, is through partnerships, through publishers who take our feeds. So if that makes sense to anybody, they want to get some more jobs on their site, from some of our direct relationships and monetize their traffic a little bit more, reach out.
Cool. Yeah, just post in the chat there. Appreciate that. Let's see here. Hey, Herb Dew from Road Dog Jobs.
Sorry, my
wanted to
camera was
see,
off. Sorry.
no
This
problem.
is me. Sorry. Sorry.
Herb,
Thanks,
Herb,
Stephen.
Herb, if you're still listening, I wanted to just get a quick hello to you and see how you're doing there at Road Dog Jobs. We spoke probably like a year ago.
All
I
right,
think.
I've been camera off over here.
No problem, man.
I'm good. Just busy as all get out. Growing Road Dog Jobs and making some changes to it to kind of get kicked off in Q1. And yeah, a lot of I mean, obviously for those that follow just the world of AI, which should be probably everybody on this call. AI means more power. More power means more road dogs. So that's a big for us. Construction is just booming, and so companies are trying to figure out how to get in front of these guys. So which is great for us. So it's been good overall.
Nice, excellent.
Yeah.
All right. How about Roger from was it Great Insurance Jobs?
Great Insurance Jobs, Orlando Jobs, Miami Jobs now, I guess, something like that. I don't even know.
How you doing? How's business down there?
Hey, it's ever changing. It's we're a company that we've never did backfill jobs or anything. Everything's always been naturally posted to our site. We've always had our own brand basically with that, but obviously with all the competition out there, the prices that we're able to charge, a few years ago are certainly changed a bit in getting there. So we're actually in the process of making a big switch, which will be making some announcements, but we're adding some additional features to our services above just the job board moving forward. And things I've always had staffing agencies and things like that, but really integrating it with our clients and then a lot of advertising marketing stuff. But my interest in you guys is just with all these new these AI applied tools where people are applying to 1,000 jobs in a week. Is anybody seeing that into their job boards or block? How is that? How are we supposed to manage all that stuff? We're not really seeing that big of uptick, but there's certain times when there's it seems like a rush on a couple of the jobs. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
If all your jobs are redirects, which a lot of job boards are, that's not going to really affect you, I don't think. It's going to affect the ATSs more than the job board.
Right.
Anybody else?
But you're still going to be responsible for that handoff. And all of a sudden they're getting a gazillion job seekers that aren't qualified to their postings. Is that going to reflect poorly on your job board?
Applications are definitely going up across the board. Greenhouse had a stat, something like it was like 4x from a couple of years ago in terms of number of applications, something like that. But Joe, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll speak up on that. I mean, we sell probably 6 million clicks a month or so, and obviously they need to be good clicks. Anything we buy, we do all our buying through ClickCast. So we use ClickCast. They generate XML feeds for job boards. We can also see, even on the sales side, we will bill clients using ClickCast, which they have a 24-hour. It's not just the bots. It's not just the AI apply. It's also, how many times does user click? I know Talroo is probably one of the only ones left, I think, in the space that does a 30-second, charge it twice in 30 seconds for the same IP, same job. Most of the European sites are 24 hours, Lens is an hour. So you have the duplicate clicks. Of course, then you have bot clicks. We do like 3 checks a day, and then we do a couple forensic checks. We subscribe to a number of different bot platforms where we can identify bots quickly. But we've definitely seen challenges with the AI applied type tools because it does allow job seekers to sort of spray their resume everywhere. If we notice irregular patterns, we just simply block the IPs. Or we'll make them think they've applied and let them go through because they might switch IPs. Roger, it's definitely a rabbit hole for sure. And you want to make sure, especially when you're charging on a cost per click basis, that every click is a legitimate job seeker. I think to Chris's point, the AI applied tools can, if you're just doing a redirect to the ATS, it's really the ATS that's receiving that apply. But if you're sending a bunch of janitors applying to biostatistician jobs, the customer's not going to keep you very long. So a lot of people will use Cloudflare, or they'll use like IPv6 restriction tools so they can kind of identify that and filter that out. We have a team of about 5 or 6 people that are constantly working on that. It is definitely a challenge. I don't have an answer for how it can be solved, although I've always suggested to TA Tech and some of these other organizations that it would be great if we could centrally collect all of this information and put this into a central database, and as part of our membership have access to this, because collectively all of us see, this kind of not good traffic, but we're all operating in silos and we're probably all replicating a lot of work internally. Maybe that'd be good task for the mad scientists of recruiting to put something like that together. But yeah, it's definitely a big problem for sure. We are constantly in, I don't want to say disputes, but we also see a lot of clicks that look legit, but the conversions are horrible. 1,000 clicks and only 6 applications. That can also be a sign. But you really have to have good data people that look into all that stuff and get logs from your customers and try and compare and see if you can isolate and block IPs.
One problem one of my clients is having is just spam accounts, like on the employer side. They come in with these Gmail addresses and try and fake a company profile. So every week I have them going on there and just scouring the new registrations and deleting those Gmails automatically because they're all fake basically. And they try and scam the seekers as well.
Yeah, and I think, understanding your downstream registration effects. So for us, Lensa, we know how much we pay per job seeker per market. And as they flow through reg, there's some monetization that occurs there. And of course, then there's job delivery after that. We've seen where, all of a sudden registrations look great, but they're all Hotmails. There's no resume upload. There's no subsequent clicks after the registration. So you can use some of that data too to sort of at least identify some of the bad actors. With Lensa, we offer AdSense, which is kind of like, well, it's JobSense, but it's kind of like AdSense. So we have an affiliate program. We have API tools for larger advertisers. And of course, we buy via XML as well. We buy both on an LTV and an ARB. And we spend, $1 million to $1.5 million roughly a month or so buying traffic. But it definitely requires, a pretty substantial effort to make sure that you're selling clean clicks and clean applications. And I think it's only going to get worse because I think these tools are really simple. For $15 a month, a job seeker can upload their resume, generally say what they're looking for, and these systems will just go out, find jobs, and just apply. And it doesn't cost the job seeker anything. So what's the harm for them? Maybe they feel like they'll get lucky, which they probably won't. But it's definitely a big challenge, and I think it's going to continue to get a lot worse.
Interesting time, guys. Well, I think we'll call it there. It is 2:00, so appreciate you guys joining today. I'll put the video up tonight or tomorrow on Job Board Secrets on YouTube there. And stay tuned for my Job Board Con sometime in March or April. I got to finalize the date yet, but that'll be the next big event. And then we'll do this virtual meetup again quarterly as well. So, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for hosting, Chris.
Yep. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.